Hello everybody, I'm Jim Durrett, Mayor of Montgomery County, and this is another one of our segments about shining the spotlight where it needs to be shown. And today I have the distinct honor of being able to sit and talk to Andrew Kester, our Director of our Veteran Services Office. Andrew, how are you today?
Good. Thank you so much for having me here.
Man, I'm glad you're here. So before we start diving into your day and what your job is and everything, tell us a little bit about Andrew.
Well, military member, so I spent 20 years in the military.
Thank you for your service.
My pleasure, it's an honor. But that's what brought me to Clarksville. So I'm originally from upstate New York.
We won't hold that against you.
Well, I left New York when I was 17. I've been here 14 years, so in 3 more years I can change my birth certificate, right?
Awesome.
Right?
Awesome.
So I can claim Tennessee as my birthplace.
Yeah, so I kind of interrupted you, so go ahead.
So I joined the military right out of high school and traveled the world, and my last 3 years I spent here. And I just really enjoyed Tennessee. I enjoyed Clarksville, Montgomery County, the people, the weather, the conditions, the amenities for my children, the school system, and we decided to retire here. So that's probably.
But all your kids weren't born here, were they?
None of my kids.
None of your kids were born here. Yeah.
So my oldest was born in Fort Lewis, Washington, moved to Texas, moved to North Carolina, moved here. So he finished his high school here and went to Austin P, and now he's in the Army.
Good for him.
He's actually coming back here next week. He's going to be stationed at Fort Campbell.
That is so awesome.
Looking forward to that. And my youngest, she was born in Texas and then moved to North Carolina, then here to Tennessee, and she'll be graduating high school in a couple weeks. So she was the first class in Rossview Elementary School, and she's done the whole 13 years. So started at the very first elementary school in Rossview and has gone the complete cycle through the Rossview program.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
So I'm not sure if they're gonna recognize those children that started
they
Rossview
should.
Elementary.
Yeah, they should.
This is the class that went through the whole from day one with Rossview Elementary.
So when you moved here, your son, was he starting high school, finishing high school?
He was in middle school, so he started at Northeast.
Yeah.
And then moved over to Rossview.
Was that a tough transition?
Well,
I mean, that's a tough age.
Well, not so much because he went through 4 different school systems growing up. So it was just another transition. It just was within the same town.
Yeah. So what'd you do when you got out of the military?
So I retired in 2010, got into medical sales because in the military I was in x-ray and medical work for 20 years. And so I got into medical sales, but I stayed here. But I traveled the world doing medical sales, and after 7 years I was done traveling. So that's when I would look for a new job.
Yeah. Along came the VSO.
Exactly. Right. Not what I was looking for though.
Yeah.
That wasn't in my kind of line of sight. You know, I was looking at education and healthcare. That's what I was looking at. You know, as you know, I used my GI Bill to get my doctorate in education, and I was a professor for a little bit, and I still am an adjunct professor. So that's what I was looking at. I was looking at healthcare realm or education. County government was not in my sight.
Well, I think that's so awesome. There's because you're one of the department heads that I've had the pleasure of hiring, and so I know I'm gonna know the answers to a lot of the questions I'm gonna ask you, but I just think it's so interesting and phenomenal what you've done. But so you really didn't have a desire. You had a desire to be in education, but you came to work for government again.
Right.
Big difference between the Army and local government to some degree.
A little bit,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. And I was talking to somebody else that served in the Army. We don't have as many acronyms for sure.
No, not as many, right. Except when it comes to purchasing.
Yeah. So this is gonna be, you're gonna have more than one answer for this. And if you do, I want you to talk about them. But talk about some significant improvements since you've been the director of VSO that you brought to that office.
Sure. So like you said, you hired me, which I appreciate that.
Well, I'm glad I did.
So I've been with you on your team now for 3 years, and so you charged me when I first came on board to decrease the wait time and increase awareness. So I had experience in both. When you said decreased wait time, I kind of changed the way we did business, specifically the scheduling. So I came in with a medical background, and I kind of run that office as a medical office. So when a veteran comes in and schedules an appointment, we remind them of their appointments. So just like if you were to go to a doctor's appointment, you get emails, text, phone calls. They want you to make sure they make that appointment, because if you miss that appointment, that's lost revenue for that hospital or that doctor. Well, if a veteran misses their appointment with us, that's lost revenue or benefits for them. So we're gonna make sure they meet that appointment. So we text them, and we call them, we email them, they know they have an appointment. So which leads to the second part, which was decrease the wait time. So that's what decreasing the wait time has dropped from 6 weeks to less than 10 days. And that was the goal that you and I set up when I first came on board. And we met that within 6 months, and we've held that appointment schedule.
That is so awesome.
And it's just important, because when a veteran misses an appointment, it's just a never-ending cycle. And that adds to the wait time. So we've got that down. And the second challenge, you said increase awareness. And that's what collectively as a team we've done. We've increased awareness. When I first came on board, I had to figure out where are veterans in our community, and I found them in 4 places. Education, so we have an outreach at Austin P and Nashville State. Nursing homes, there's a lot of nursing homes, so we have outreach in nursing homes. Workforce, that's the hard ones to get, those that are working. We have events on the weekends. We extended hours to get them to come in so they don't take vacation time. And then unfortunately, we have homeless veterans in our community, and we have outreach there. So that kind of answers the question. Is we've done a lot of outreach. Now that the COVID is lifted, just before COVID, we had a very robust outreach program. We had to shut it down, for that year and a half. And now as we're coming out, we're bringing that back.
Well, I think one of the things that's so, I don't call it funny, but I think it's just how in tune you are to what you need to do and how to reach veterans is, the county commission funded a vehicle for VSO. They'd never had a vehicle for VSO, and Andrew's like, we gotta get it wrapped. We gotta get it wrapped, and you probably have the only county vehicle that's wrapped. Sure. But it's so cool. Right. It's so cool. You mentioned COVID, and it shut down some of the outreach that you were doing. But I tell you, it really, in a sense, it became pretty valuable to y'all, because I think you really learned something.
Sure.
And talk about that.
So when I first came on board, I met the team, and like you said, I was an outsider. When people saw my name at the county commission, and when I was starting to get to know people, and before I even started the job, between the ratification from the commission and from when you hired me and the ratification was a couple-week time period. So my name was out there, but it wasn't solid yet. So I was starting to get emails and calls saying, who are you? Where are you coming from? You're thinking I was related to you. For a couple weeks I was related to you. And I met him at a marriage like 2 weeks prior. That's the first time I ever met you, when you officiated the wedding.
Yeah.
But so that part was that transition coming on board. Even the team didn't know me. So I didn't work up through county government, so no one knew me, but I'd been in the community for almost 10 years. But I kind of got out of the veteran side because of the travel. So getting that part, what was the question?
COVID.
Oh, COVID, I got off track.
Yeah, that's okay. You were headed there.
Yeah, I was heading there. And I lost track. So when I came on board, that's what I did, is I got the team together, and I said, this is the vision I have for us as a team. And one of those was, I came out of sales and service. I said, I see us doing phone appointments. And the team said, no, that can't.
But a lot of pushback.
A lot of pushback. And I said, okay, well, that's just a vision. That's just some things that I'm looking at. But this is where I see our team in 5 years. And that was one of them. I said, we can do this remote. We can, veterans well established, been in our office, we know them. We could do follow-ups over the phone. Well, they said, no, we can't do it. It has to be in person, it has to. Well, fast forward a year after that, COVID hit. Well, then we were forced to do, and we never shut down. We went from one day in the office to the next day, we're working remote and doing our appointments over the phone. IT gave us the technology that we had, and that was something that we did here. We never shut down. We continued our appointment schedule, never changed it. We actually took on other counties' clients. We took on the bases, Fort Campbell. they had my name and phone number on their separation, saying, when you go to separate, we can't do these VA appointments, go see Andrew Kester at the Montgomery County VSO.
Wow.
So we were doing the bases work as well, Fort Campbell. But we never turned anyone away. And I appreciate that guidance from you. Because when I came on board, I said, what's my breadth? And you said, as far as you can go.
Yeah.
That's when I said I need a vehicle. And then we wrapped it because that's outreach.
Yeah.
But we've never turned veterans away. You've allowed us to continue that. Even though we are a Montgomery County department, the tax dollars, our salaries, our support comes from Montgomery County. But like we've discussed, we have veterans that come into Montgomery County and spend dollars at the stores, at the restaurants, buying vehicles, and don't live in our county. So that's kind of how we justify seeing other veterans from other counties.
Yeah.
We just won't turn veterans away until you tell me I have to.
Yeah. But you still do a lot of phone appointments, don't you?
Right. So one of the things that we do that we learned out of COVID is that there is still a need, and I think there will be a need from now on to have virtual appointments, because veterans, they don't have to get out if they don't have to travel.
Right.
And then also we do it to make sure our equipment works. The ice days we had back in January, we didn't close. You closed the county.
Right.
We didn't close. We said we're just going to do these from home and remote.
Yeah.
And we gave compensation time for our employees for that, our team members, but we didn't cancel those appointments. And then so if we have a natural disaster, we have something that we have to shut down the county. If we're still able, we have connectivity, we're going to still do those appointments. We don't want to have those veterans rescheduled, because they take time off of work to come in to do those appointments, especially the working class. We really want to keep those appointments, because we don't have to, they've taken time off work, now we cancel it, now they're going to take more time off of work.
Andrew, I don't know that the average individual that didn't serve in the military, doesn't have any military background, the people that come into your office, and I don't want to get into any HIPAA stuff or anything like that, but I mean, some of these cases that y'all are dealing with have been denied, but you and your staff, you're like, no, there's a reason why this person should be compensated for what's going on in their life, and y'all just don't give up.
Right. Well, we've got a very robust team. So we have 10 people on our staff. Most counties only have 1 to 2. The TCA, Tennessee Code of Annotation, is that the mandate is, the minimum requirement is 1 VSO per county that works 22 hours a week. So the counties that only have 1 or 2 VSOs, they don't have the time to do research and to dig.
Right.
And they also don't have that experience like we have. We've got VSOs that have been on the team for 20 and 15, 13 years. So we've got a wealth of knowledge on our team that we can bounce ideas off or say, I have this situation, how do I solve it? So that's what I like about our team is we've been here for 77 years. So we have that experience, that knowledge, and people know us around the state and around the country and around the world of the services that we provide.
Yeah. And I know there's an astronomical number out there of benefits that have come through our VSO office since you've been there. Do you know what it is off the top of your head?
No.
Do you know what it was last year?
Well, last year compensation was $422 million, just last year alone.
Say that number again, say it to the camera.
So $422 million came into Montgomery County through veterans benefits. So that's compensation, and that's only from our county. We've seen people from other counties, and those counties get those benefits.
That's so awesome, man. So awesome, so awesome. What's your typical day look like?
Well, probably a lot like yours, because it changes from the day you walk in, the time you walk in. So I do as much outreach as I can. So every day I have some sort of outreach. Before the pandemic hit, I was doing outreach in the morning and VSO work in the afternoon. When you brought me on board, you told me I don't need another VSO, I need a director. And I told you, I said, yes, I understand that, but I need to be a VSO as well. So I know what the team is doing, and so I can help out. So I help the team with the bottom line, keeping those numbers down.
You actually take cases yourself.
I do. Yeah. And that's good and bad. When I go out and do outreach and I speak and pass out my cards, people want to see me.
Yeah.
So my backlog is a little bit longer, and I tell everybody, why would you want the newest guy to do your claim? You got so much experience here. Why would you want the director of all people doing your claim? That's the least knowledgeable person about benefits. But a lot of people, they want to see me, and that's fine. But when they call to make an appointment, our office coordinators try to divert that and say, are you sure you want to see him? His out, he's a little bit backed out. So I do VSO work half the day and then outreach in the mornings.
Yeah.
And then any other things like this or the different committees that I'm on and the different committees I'm on in the community as well. I'm on the Mayor's Challenge with the city, with suicide prevention, and just a lot of other, I'm on the retiree council at Fort Campbell, but outreach, community work, committees, and then VSO work, and then handling staff. We have 10 people, so when you have 10 people, you got the management and directing part of it.
And all your staff has to have some type of certification too, don't they?
Right, so that's state mandated, so we're credentialed by Tennessee Department of Veteran Services. So we have mandatory training and mandatory things we have to do with the state. So we're all veterans, and what better to service veterans than other veterans?
Right. Well, you've talked about the outreach part a whole lot, and I just can't tell you how many different organizations I talk to that say, hey, Andrew or Dr. Kester or whatever they call your director of VSO, he's involved in this, he's involved in that. But you talked about it. You're connected with Austin P, you're connected with Fort Campbell, you're connected with the Rotary clubs, and it's really about just letting the veterans know that, hey, we are here, we're to help you, and just come see us. And so I just think that's so cool.
And outreach will never stop until I hit 31,000. So right now, as of last year, we have 31,000 veterans in Montgomery County. Only 16,000 are getting benefits. So I'm missing half our veterans in Montgomery County.
Yeah.
So imagine if all 31,000 veterans were getting benefits. Instead of $422 million, almost $1 billion worth of economic impact brought into this county.
Wow. What do you think are some short-term and long-term challenges for the VSO?
Well, short term is the outreach. Get out of COVID. Let me go do outreach. I would love to do outreach and be speaking somewhere half a day, every day, 5 days a week. That's my goal. So the short term is coming back out of COVID, get the outreach back up. And I'm not the only one that does outreach. So every team member has a passion for something, and that's what I give them. So John has a passion for the older veterans, so he does all of our outreach at the nursing homes. Raquel has outreach for law enforcement, so she does the police and fire and EMS. So everyone has a specific passion, and that's what their outreach is. So I establish contacts and then turn it over to them. So that's kind of short term. Come out of COVID, get our outreach back up. Long term goal is just keep doing what we're doing and growing. We got a new facility 2 years ago. We built it during COVID, and it came in under budget and under time.
Yeah.
So that was great. So now we have room to grow over the next 5 years. So it's just continue doing what we're doing and growing. And when the time comes that we're past the 10-day and we've done everything we can to keep it down, growing the staff as well.
Do you see, is there a trend, if you look back 20 years, we were at war for 20 years till we pulled out of Afghanistan, the end of last year. Do you see issues that we aren't seeing now that'll start becoming these benefit type issues? I know the burn barrels or whatever they were, that's something that started in Iraq, I think, but I think the challenges are gonna get bigger and bigger, don't you?
Yeah, as we learn what things we contracted over there, whether it was the inhalant from the burn pit registry or the veterans that were stationed at K2 with the chemical exposures, it's correlating the medical conditions to the service. And because of Agent Orange and how long it took them to concede the different conditions with Agent Orange in Vietnam, they're trying to keep from that happening again. And so I think they're a little bit quicker on the conditions, but you got to think of technology and doing the registries and tracking those. It's a little bit easier now with the informational age, with the internet, how we reach the veterans where they had the difficulty with the Vietnam veterans and tracking them.
Yeah, y'all battle pretty hard with the VA, don't you?
We do. So we're like I said, we're independent. A lot of people think we're the VA. They come in and say, "You're the VA." No, we said no. We're a veteran just like yourself, but we're here as an advocate for you.
Yeah.
Our background's not legal. We're not lawyers. We're not legal aids. We're other veterans that are just adamant about helping them. and all of us have different background. My background's medical, so I bring that to the table. We've got human resources, we've got MP, we've got artillery, so we've got a wide variety of different military backgrounds on the team.
That's so cool. How big's your team?
So we have 10.
Yeah.
So that's by far the largest. The next closest is only 4 VSOs.
Wow. Well, that speaks volumes of Montgomery County and their commitment to the veterans of our community and really across the state. I mean, we're the biggest VSO office in the state, maybe the busiest.
Oh, by sure. By
and then from a benefit standpoint,
the highest.
Yeah.
So we don't have the largest amount of veterans. Shelby County has 50,000.
Right.
But they only have 2 VSOs. So their economic impact's less than 200 million. So it's half of ours.
Wow.
But they only have 2 VSOs. So they don't do any outreach, or they can't do outreach because they're too busy servicing veterans.
Yeah. So you talked about when you were in the military and where you moved around, and then you came to Fort Campbell and you decided to stay here. If you met somebody out on the street and were talking to them and found out they were thinking about moving here, why would Andrew tell them to move to Clarksville, Montgomery County?
Well, multiple reasons, but it'd be depending on their background. So if they're a veteran, active duty service member, or just a civilian person moving here, 3 different answers. So if they're active duty, I would say Fort Campbell's a great place to serve. Between the opportunities, the different units and the size, great place to serve at. If they're a veteran, never been stationed here, great place to live. A lot of community resources for veterans. We have the coalition, Veterans Coalition, that has multiple resources here to help grow veterans businesses or tie veterans in with the community. Because that's one thing we see is when we separate from the service, if we don't join a team, we have a hard time with that separation. We need to belong to a team. Doesn't matter what team it is, but if you have veterans close by, they can help direct you. And if it's a civilian moving here, it's great to be around a military post or a veteran community. You come out in the morning and your trash can's pulled out to the curb, it's probably that Army veteran that pulled out.
That gave me chill bumps.
Yeah. So, I do that to my older neighbor, see his trash can out this morning, it's raining, I run and grab it and pull it out.
Wow.
Veteran or a military member, they have a civilian that lives next to them, that's gonna be their surrogate grandparents or we've had that through our military career here. They go on vacation for 2 weeks, their lawn's gonna get mowed. So that's kind of 3 different answers for the 3 different situations.
And the community's pretty reciprocal to that too.
Exactly.
As well.
Yep. So you have
it goes both ways, doesn't it?
Active duty soldier that deploys, spouse with small kids, that lawn's gonna get mowed, that trash can's gonna get pulled up. And if that mom needs a little bit of a break to go shopping, the kids are gonna get watched.
What's the most gratifying part about your job?
Helping veterans. I feel like I'm back in the military. I'm working with veterans and I'm servicing veterans. But every day, we change lives. You told me that when I came on board that this office changes lives. So we help with the benefits, the financial, but that's every day we change a veteran's life.
And I talked about this a little bit, but I still don't think that a lot of people, especially people that weren't in the military, that and this is, I don't want to go down here, but there's family members that should have received death benefits.
Right.
There's people that have had things happen to them in the military that they should have received benefits, and they've lived for years without that, and y'all make it happen. And that's just got to, that has to be just one of the just best feelings in the world.
It is.
Because it's life changing. And they've had something that's happened to them that's life changing, and it's taken them down this course or this journey in life that maybe wasn't a good journey, but y'all have done something that changes that journey and hopefully makes it better, and I think it does.
Right, and a lot of times it's because they didn't know. And we're a free county agency. And case in point, me, I didn't realize we had a VSO. I didn't know what a VSO was. I'd come down to the plaza twice a year to register my vehicle, every other year to vote, but I never looked further left in the plaza, where our old place, to see what Veteran Service Organization. Now we're smack dab in the middle, so that's a lot of, we get walk in and says, what do you do? But it's just getting that word out that every county has a VSO. Where they're located is different in every place, but it's free. It's just come in, spend an hour with us, see if you qualify for benefits, or you're dependent or a previous spouse, either a deceased spouse, just to see. It's worth the conversation.
Yeah. And I can promise you, if you meet Andrew Kester, you're gonna know about the VSO, because he's gonna tell you about it. Man, I sure appreciate you. I appreciate all you're doing. You're doing just such an awesome job, and your team does an awesome job, and man, you're just helping people that need help, and that, I think that's what it's all about.
Well, I appreciate the support and the guidance that you give, because if it wasn't for the long line of mayors that supported our department till it first allowed to grow, allowed to exist,
I agree.
give us a new facility, we wouldn't be able to do this without you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you, man.
All right, sir.
Thank you, Andrew.
Sure.